name is Eva Holmes. My maiden name was Eva Zamora. I was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in the North Valley. I lived in a two-room house. We had no water inside. We had to go outside to use the bathroom. So we were very, very poor. But my dad owned a lot of land in the North Valley. So he had a farm. He grew hay, and he had vegetables. He had horses and cows and chickens and turkeys, and so we didn't lack for food, but we didn't have any money. I grew up basically in the country. We lived in the country. The houses were very far away, and we were the only ones that had a phone, because my dad worked in the conservancy. He was what they called ditch rider. So they had to give him a phone so that they could contact him if they were having any problems with floods or whatever. So the neighbors would all gather around the house to use, we'd have a long line waiting to use the phone. And the phones were very, we had about 3 people in the lines. So everybody listened to everybody's conversations. So that was interesting, because everybody knew everybody else's business. And I went to school in Los Griegos Elementary, and I didn't know how to speak English when I started the first grade, so I had to learn really fast, because there was no bilingual language then. We all had to speak English. In fact, they would punish us if we didn't. So he had the garden and all the vegetables and the hay, so he would have to wake up. He would have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to turn the water on so that he could irrigate the garden, or turn the water on for the people that would call him and tell him that they wanted water for their gardens. So he would have to open the channels, whatever they were called, I don't remember. But the big ditch carried all the water, and then they had little, what they called acequias, which were little ditches that went into the garden. And they would block those off with some kind of I don't remember what they were called, but it was like a big block of wood, and then they would just push it down and block the water so that you could cut it off from going into your garden. And I remember my dad one time did that, forgot to turn that, to close it, and he flooded the railroad track. Well, he flooded his garden first, the hay, and then it went over the railroad tracks, and it went into 2nd Street and flooded 2nd Street. So that happened, I think, a lot of times, because he would forget. But my mom would make a big pot of beans, and we would have, and she always made tortillas, and we always had green chili in the summer, because we would have it from the garden, and red chili in the winter after they dried. The ristras would dry, and she would make the red chili. So in the summer we would have green chili and tortillas and beans. The beans would be for the whole week. We'd start out with fresh beans, and then about the 3rd day, they would start changing, and like she would fry them or make them with something else. But we always had beans and chili and tortillas. My dad didn't like white bread, so we ate tortillas, and I loved them. I loved tortillas. Well, the other thing about growing up out on North Edith, which was quite a ways away from the city, we didn't have a car, so we walked everywhere. So I even walked downtown sometimes into Central from my house. When I was a young girl, close to my teens and in the middle teens, there used to be fiestas, and all the churches, all the parishes had fiestas. Duranes and Griegos and Candelaria, Martinez Town, Alameda. So we all used to go to the fiestas, and what they would do is they would put up a tent around the church, and they would, and then they'd have music, and we would just dance and have hamburgers, and it was a lot of fun. So that was one of the things that we used to do.